Hey guys, welcome back. Dave again. So in this episode, I thought we would do a top 10 reasons to move to Wyoming. So top 10 reasons to move to Wyoming. Now, when somebody tells you to move to Wyoming, always ask them what part. Somebody telling you to move to Wyoming is like someone telling you to move to Europe. Well, where in Europe? That's the same kind of deal with Wyoming. So which part of Wyoming am I telling you to move to? So I'm primarily focusing on the upper northwest corner of Wyoming. Now, what you have to understand about Wyoming is it's really, really big. So, and in that, each one has a different climate, you get a different experience, and it depends on what you're into and what you want to do. So for me, hiking, outdoors, horseback riding, all that kind of stuff we'll get into, you find that in the northwest corner. So that's the area that we're going to focus on. Okay, at number 10, low cost of living. So if you look at Wyoming, it costs you basically 1.9% less than the national average to live here. You know, when you compare it to a state, let's take Washington State, and everybody here is going to get really mad at me, especially when I pull in these liberal states. But if you look at like Washington State, it's a little over 20%, like 20.6% cheaper than living in Washington State when you total everything in. Now, if we take and we look at median home prices, we're looking somewhere in that 229, 230 range. And if you take a look at this house that I have up here, it's even less than that. Yes, it's in town, but it's a nice little place, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, and it comes in underneath of that 229 price tag. Definitely a screaming little deal if you're looking for something. Number 9, no traffic. So your average commute in Wyoming comes in at around 18 minutes. And now, I assume that this number, based on the research, it didn't really give me how or why, but in looking, a number like that to me says that you live probably in another town and you're commuting to or from a town. Basically, most of these little towns are usually like 18, 20 minutes apart. So if you take a look at Cody and you look at Powell, they're roughly 20, 25 minutes apart. So that'll get you right around that number. Now, to get around town, it doesn't take you that long. 3 miles and I'm across all of town with 3 stoplights. So, I mean, far and away, the biggest traffic jam that you're gonna find is the Walmart parking lot. All right, at number 8, the great outdoors, and we're primarily gonna focus on winter in this one. So if you take and you look at winter, things to do here. So we're 45 minutes from 2 different ski resorts. One is the local, just outside of Yellowstone there. So Sleeping Giant, they're doing some great things up there, making some work. The other one is Red Lodge, which is, in my opinion, one of the best ski areas in the 5 states. You see a lot of college kids come there, take winter breaks. That mountain is just awesome. That little town is great too. So if Wyoming's not for you and you're looking at Montana, Red Lodge is a good backup option. Not to mention, Red Lodge also has ski joring each year, which you can see some photos of right here. Basically, they tow snowboarders and skiers behind horses around tracks. It's pretty friggin' awesome. It's coming up in the next couple months. I'll try to get you a video of that. Number 7, super low crime. So property crime is 6.9% below the national average, and violent crime is 7% lower than the national average. So big thanks to these guys. They keep us safe. But one of the other things, and we'll get into that, there's a lot of people with guns. When you have guns, you don't have violence. Number 6, no state income taxes. So this is a huge one. It really helps out with that lower cost of living. Wyoming's ranked as the 5th lowest cost of living state in the country. And then if you take a look with the median income of $58,252, if we look at no state income tax and we take a state like Maryland, so we'll go to the other side of the country, away from Washington this time. So if we look at Maryland with its 7% income tax, state income tax, you'd be saving $4,077 right there just in income tax. So huge savings, moving to Wyoming, another win, another positive. Number 5. Assume everyone is armed. Now, I don't know about you. I love guns, grew up around guns, have owned guns my whole life, will own guns till I'm dead. So everyone in Wyoming basically has a gun. So if we take and we look at a published report from CBS, for every 1,000 residents, there are 195.7 registered guns. That's just registered guns. there are more guns per capita in Wyoming than any other state. And, you know, we have an entire wing of a museum. The Buffalo Bill Museum is dedicated to guns. If you go in and look, they have an entire Glock exhibit where Glock has sent them every Glock ever made. You can go through and look at every one of those. Now they have room upon room of guns. Tommy guns, old machine guns, muskets, like you name it, it's in that museum. There are drawers upon drawers upon drawers that you can go through and look at super rare, super collectible, amazing guns, like just some stuff you didn't even know existed. That museum's definitely worth checking out. Check it out when you come to town. Number 4, hunting opportunities. And I definitely encourage you to go watch my hunting video if you haven't seen it already. It helps break some of this down. But as far as hunting opportunities go, as far as big game animals go, we lead the nation. There is nowhere with more big game species than we have. Just to give you a couple examples of the type of big game animals that you can hunt here. So we have antelope, mule deer, white-tailed deer, moose, elk, bighorn sheep, mountain goats, buffalo, wolf, black bear, mountain lions, ducks, turkeys, and then other small game. But those big game animals are primarily found here. I mean, short of maybe Alaska might be the only other running in the mix, but you can't beat Wyoming for the hunting. It is amazing. It is true, you know, Western state hunting. It's an adventure. At number 3, we're gonna go with the great outdoors, and we're gonna do summer this time. So when we get into that, you know, we start to bring in horseback riding, fly fishing, lake fishing, hiking, personal favorite there for me. Watch along this year as we go and we do a bunch of these different hikes. You're getting to see a lot of videos and a lot of cool spots to get out and hike if you like to hike. Also, you've got biking, both mountain and road. So here coming up in the next couple weeks, we're going to do a big gravel biking adventure through Yellowstone National Park. Stick around, check that one out. But the big thing, the one example that I really want to highlight, where when you're talking about getting outdoors in the summer and amazing opportunities, is the thoroughfare. What's the thoroughfare? So the thoroughfare is 67.5 miles of just the most remote country in the world. You're the furthest from paved roads that you can be anywhere in the lower 48. So basically, you kind of go out and you skirt around Yellowstone National Park. It's just an absolute amazing adventure. A lot of people horseback ride it, take a couple days to do that. Some people are brave enough to get out and hike it. Bears, moose, wolves, everything that you can imagine you will run into out there. Just an absolute epic adventure. That's definitely one on the list for the fall this year. Hoping to get that in. Don't know yet. If not, next year. Number 2, quality of life. So Wyoming has the best air quality in the lower 48. I think it's due to what we're going to see in number 1's next recommendation. Length of life. The only people that outlive people in Wyoming are people in Hawaii. Not a bad place, I can see why. The average age in Wyoming comes in at 37, so relatively younger people. Most of them are married though, so bring a spouse. The other thing that I contributed and added into quality of life, so if you're a parent and you have a student, so our student-teacher ratio is the lowest in the country at 11.1. So your child gets a ton of one-on-one time with the teachers. The teachers here are fantastic. Wyoming pays their teachers really, really well. You get a great education in Wyoming. Wyoming definitely focuses on that. Have to give them major kudos there. They also spend more per student than the national average at about $18,413 per student, which comes in at about $6,030 more than the national average per student. So Wyoming really invests in their kids. All right, and at number 1, lack of people. So now for me, that's a huge draw. I know there's not a big social scene and there's not this and that, but you can get out and do whatever you want and you have the space and the freedom to do so. You don't have people everywhere. As a matter of fact, you have a people to cow ratio of 2.1. So you have 2.18 cows for every person. To me, that's an awesome stat. If you have more cows than people, you're doing things right. It's an area you want to live in. People aren't over your shoulder. You're not dealing with drama all the time. Wyoming has very few people. And that, to me, is the number 1 thing and the number 1 reason to move to Wyoming. People will leave you alone. All right, guys, that's my top 10 list. Let me know if I missed anything that you'd like to add, anything that you'd like to see, any disagreements you have, don't like the order. Put them down in the comments. I'm sure we'll talk about them. And until next time, I'll catch you guys.